What up, dudes? We're back out on Inferno. That's what I decided to name the bike if you guys aren't following me on Instagram. Yeah, this is Inferno. That is officially her name because she's a spicy little firestorm of a bike, despite the fact that Tuono means thunder in Italian. At least I'm pretty sure it's Italian. It'd be real dumb if it was something else. Anyway, welcome back. It was kind of an interesting video last night that I posted up, primarily just due to the fact that I forgot to pull the ND filter off, and I even mentioned it in the comments. That legitimately was almost identical to like my actual view out my visor. It was just so dark. So yeah, timing of getting home was excellent. But today we are going to travel up to Imperial again. Figured it'd be a good way to get some more miles on the bike. I'm slowly getting this thing back to like where the MV was, where it'll just pop into neutral pretty easily. I mean, we only have 42 miles on here. The fact that it's already loosening up a little bit is awesome. The weather, it's still coming in, the storm that I was talking about. It just didn't hit quite as quickly as I thought it would. So the weather's actually fairly decent. It's not great. I don't know. It just didn't hit quite as quickly as everybody thought it would, including me. I mean, you can kind of see it. Like once we get up over the rise, you'll be able to see it pretty clear. But legitimately in the mountains right now, and then by like, I don't know, 5 o'clock, it's supposed to be down here. And it's a crapshoot as to whether or not it's going to be rain or snow or snur or what the fuck we're going to get. It's just a big mess. Like nobody really knows what we're getting. So you can see it on that ridge line up there along the mountains. It's all up in the high country right now, but it will be down here later this evening. So yeah, I'm like, screw it. If the weather's good enough today, let's get Inferno out of the garage and get some more miles racked up before we get stuck not being able to ride for a little bit. So I've been noticing, because I called it out yesterday, I'm doing about 31 miles to the gallon, which is not great, but it's not terrible either, especially on a brand new motor. I mean, obviously that'll improve a little bit, but not a ton. Yeah, it ended up being a pretty nice day. It sucks that it's just going to turn to crap later this evening. Based on what I looked at this morning, it looked like it was going to be a pretty crummy day. And then all of a sudden it shifted at the last minute. I think the high today is supposed to get close to like 60 degrees. It always kills me. In Colorado, we have the weirdest construction timelines I've ever seen. Like, there will literally be construction crews doing road work in like December. It's like, what are you guys thinking? It's going to get stupid cold. And then once you get the work done, because you did it when it was cold, and then the ice is thawing during the summer, it's just going to ruin the road again. It's almost like they do it on purpose just so they have some job security. Yeah, now you can really see that weather a little more clearly. I mean, it's pretty. Don't get me wrong. I like it when it's like this. There's a lot of different shades of color going on. It looks super cool. It also signifies that riding season is starting to become more turbulent. We get over 300 days of sunshine out here in Colorado every year. And of those 300 days, on average, I think we see maybe 3 major snowstorms. Sometimes it's a little less, sometimes it's a little more. It just really depends upon the weather patterns every year, which isn't bad if you think about it. It's actually really good. With those 300 days of sunshine, it's not guaranteed the temperature is going to be like above 50 degrees or anything like that. It's not necessarily guaranteed that there's not going to be snow on the ground or it's going to be like, you know, warm enough to ride. We have a lot of riding days here in Colorado because of all that sunshine, but it also means that the temperature on the ground is very, very all over the place. Even if it's sunny and it's awesome out, it could still be like 4 degrees outside. And I'm not even exaggerating. Like literally the temperature will drop that far and it'll still be sunny out. I don't think I've ridden through here on the MV. Maybe I have, maybe I haven't. I don't really remember. But this used to be like one of the most major spines running into Denver, is this particular road. It's part of Parker Road, but it literally like runs from here all the way to the DTC. or not DTC, the downtown is what I'm saying. DTC is like over that way. But yeah, this spine has literally been around forever. And in that time, a lot of things have stayed the same, but a lot of things have changed, obviously. You know, some gentrification has happened. A lot of businesses have moved or been replaced. But a lot of these homes and everything have been here for as long as I can remember, at least, you know, 90, like early 90s, if not early 80s. It wasn't until probably, I want to say like maybe 91 or 92, which was about the time that I moved here with my folks, little old me. It was about that time that that whole stretch that we passed that was all under construction and everything was just being planned. Like, none of it was built. It was all just like empty space and farmland. There was really nothing out there. And they were kind of planning like land development and road systems and highways and all that jazz to expand. But it was very early. So a lot of this, despite it being like fairly new, has actually been here as long as I can remember. Like Casa Vallarta there, I'm pretty sure has been there since the 90s. Like, that restaurant has just been here forever. The reservoir, obviously, it's been here for a long time. This used to be the closest state park for, I don't know, 10 or 15 years after I moved here. It wasn't until like maybe I was 7 that the reservoir that I live at now was a thing. And it was brand new at the time. But again, there was nobody living there, like no homes or anything. It was just like a road that went out there, and then the reservoir, and that was it. And the landfill that was, I don't know, 5-10 miles away. But all that stuff, like all the homes and housing developments and everything, those didn't show up until probably the late 2000s, maybe early 2010s. This area of town is actually kind of sketch in terms of traffic because, as you saw with that van, people just blow red lights here like it's nobody's business. So you got to be extra careful about going through this area. They just do not care out here. You ever notice on these Rivians how the front headlights literally look like they should have googly eyes? I'm dead serious. Like, if you look at them, those eyeball looking things that look like pills that are straight up and down, those oval shapes, almost feel like they literally need to have googly eyes in them. It's such a goofy looking truck. I get that they're trying to be unique, but not my cup of tea. I mean, electric vehicles in general aren't really my cup of tea, but still, I just think they look really goofy looking. So I'm debating which route I want to take off of this spine, because I don't think I want to use it the whole way there. Because we definitely have the mileage now. Yeah, we're at 56.8. We're good. We got enough miles now. We can start stretching it a little bit. Do not come into my lane, you fucking idiot. Good thing I was watching him. What I don't understand is how the hell he didn't hear me. The only thing I could figure is he must have had some kind of music blasting, or this thing really isn't as loud as I think it is. And I definitely need to look more closely at getting that Aero link pipe and that BT tune. So, funny story about this auto sales place right here off to the right, Zara. I actually looked at buying a GTR from these guys a little while ago. It's probably a little over a year now. They had a black one. I think they wanted like 55 grand for it, but it was a rebuilt title. So I did some digging on it to figure out like what was going on with it. And sure enough, if you look at it, because like they replaced a bunch of things with all brand new OEM parts, and it looked okay apart from the fact that it had a wrap on it that was it just needed to be pulled off. Honestly, it just looked, you know, worn out. It was a matte black wrap, just didn't look good over a black car, mind you, which, yeah, make sense. But anyway, the parts and everything were all brand new, and it looked okay, but the more I started looking at it and the deeper I dove, like looking under the engine bay and everything, that's when I realized, like, okay, that's why this thing got totaled out. The firewall on the driver's side had a crinkle in it, and it wasn't mating up properly like it used to when it was brand new. And I'm like, okay, well, that right there is enough for me to be like, yeah, I'm out. Because obviously it never got pulled and repaired properly. They just threw brand new parts at whatever they could. They didn't do any structural fixes. And obviously, even if you get that pulled and everything, it's never going to be 100% the same, because obviously, you know, the metal's already deformed at that point, and pulling it back into position just weakens it further. But still, it was just one of those things where it was like, okay, for the money, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. You know, imagine spending like 55 grand. I mean, nowadays that seems like a bargain for a rebuilt title car, especially one with like 20,000 miles on it. But then you got to start wondering, like, okay, what kind of condition is the oil pan in? You know, did anything else happen to it? And that was the thing, is they were kind of being a little sketch about the details and how they fixed it, because I had all the paperwork that proved where they bought it and how much they bought it for and all that. So I already knew how much they had into the car and how much, like, they were realistically looking to get. And to be honest, I thought it was shady as shit the more I actually did the numbers. So, long story short, with the part fixes that they had, the vehicle purchase itself from auction, from salvage auction, the car itself was, like, in terms of money that they put into it, was maybe $35,000. So if you do the math, they were basically trying to make 20 grand on a rebuilt title car, which is insane. Now, to some people that aren't very, you know, automotive educated, that go into dealerships like that and don't do their research, they might be thinking they're getting a hell of a bargain. But this is why you really got to, like, pay attention to the details of everything, because once you start looking really closely, that's when you figure out where these damn dealerships are starting to scam money and stay in business. It's because they're literally just raking in money hand over fist, and why the owner is driving around in a frickin', like, you know, a Ferrari or some shit. It's because they just literally are making, like, you know, frickin' 40% profit off of a vehicle they shouldn't even be making 10. All right, I think we've got enough mileage now that we should probably step onto the highway for a little bit. We'll see how bad the traffic is out there. Can't be that bad, can it? 61 miles. Cool. Yeah, we're definitely at that stage where we got to start stretching this thing a little bit. Whew, 219, this thing's getting toasty. Wonder how much gas this guy just burned flooring it. I don't know who he was trying to show off to, but I didn't really give a shit, to be honest. If it was me, it's like, okay, whoop-de shit, dude. I could cut up anytime I want to. I don't do it because I'm not an asshole. I'm trying to be careful about how many revs I give this thing. Just trying to build into it still. Yeah, so this dipshit is running around without a plate. Look at this. And he's blowing all kinds of crap. That thing is not tuned well at all. Shit, he almost lost control there. What a dork. I'm starting to feel that wind kicking up just a little bit. It's not bad yet, but definitely feeling it. All right. So welcome back to Imperial, guys. I actually didn't know they were open today. I thought they were closed. Go figure. So yeah, if you look, that's the bike I actually test rode. See how it has the LV10 carbon can on it? But then it still has the catalytic converter. Hasn't been removed. Just fun little details like that you miss. Alright, dudes, welcome back. So, interesting discussion. I ended up spending a lot more time here than I thought I would. So, we were discussing all the big changes to the 26 bikes. With exhaust, tuning, lights, basically all the things that are causing major pain in the ass things to happen with all these motorcycles. And apparently the RSV4 actually has more complicated software to get around than the Tuono does. At least the V4 versus the V4. And then they had like issues with RS660s and 457s with their tuning, and so on and so forth. But anyway, the point being is this issue with the tuning apparently is only getting worse. The service tech that was, stepping in as service writer today was telling me that the pads system and all the updates that they're bringing down the line to pads is starting to do like all kinds of freaking like looks and verifications for all kinds of different things. So like your servo, your cat, your O2 sensors, all of that stuff is getting logged and viewed like extremely closely now. Whereas before, if you had like an eliminator for the servo and stuff, it didn't really matter. Well, now apparently there's some kind of change that's coming down the line from Piaggio Aprilia diagnostics system. Apparently it's starting to get to the point now where like literally it's looking at everything. And I mean everything, right? It's a little obnoxious, to be honest. All the software is getting these major updates in terms of the diagnostic tools, and it's making it harder and harder for you to actually modify your bike without basically triggering an alarm. Anyway, we're talking about the exhaust changes, and those guys were convinced up until I started talking to them. There's 2 cats in the system, and they think it might just be a European thing, but they're not even sure about that. So the reality of the situation is we have a cat that exists in the bread box. You guys have seen it. But they were convinced that the stock muffler can, where it has that bulge on the end where it connects to the cat itself, they were convinced that that had a cat in it as well, and the reality is it doesn't. Where the fuck am I? I am so lost. Got back to the spot I want to be at, and I'm still low on gas. But anyway, I told him about the muffler and how that secondary cat that they're talking about that used to be the primary cat, I told them about how that thing is completely empty, and they honestly didn't believe me. They were like, what? There's no way. And I'm like, nope, really, it's empty. I told them it was hollow. They didn't believe me, but then we got into this long debate about all like the necessary parts you're going to have for tuning, to remove the cat, and like we went down a rabbit hole, honestly. Like, I think I was probably talking to them for a solid, like, I don't know, 20 minutes about this one topic. And I legitimately am just sitting there like, dude, I just want to buy a hat. I'm just telling you guys stuff that you probably should have known, especially considering you guys are a major dealership for Aprilia. Just kind of seems silly to me that I should be pointing this stuff out to you, especially considering your demo bike has already had this stuff removed. And you would think you would have looked into that frickin' area of the muffler system to begin with. They just assumed. They didn't even bother looking when they pulled that muffler off, which seems real silly to me. Kind of blew their mind a little bit, opened them up to a new world of possibilities that they didn't really consider before. Had a discussion about the differences between Bren Tune versus Gabbro and Upmap, and oh yeah, the lighting changes and how much of a pain in the ass that whole thing is now. I love how they have to remind people that driving without insurance is a crime. Like, that should be common knowledge. I honestly think there's more people with expired license plate registration than there is insurance-related shit. But then again, both of those could probably go hand in hand, considering the fact that insurance basically needs to know that that car is registered properly. At least most insurers do, anyway. Can't have one without the other. But yeah, they were a little mind blown when I told them that the Bren Tune is actually CARB certified for the Stage 1 map. They were like, holy crap, that's insane. How the hell do you get that approved? I don't know. The more I talk to these Imperial guys, the more I'm kind of like baffled a little bit that they are the number one dealership in terms of Aprilia sales. It seems to me that their technical expertise is just not on the level of AF1. Now, I mean, mind you, I've only had like 2 or 3 instances where I've basically, you know, talked to them about this kind of stuff. And I know, I should not be on the highway doing this many revs consistently, but I am trying to vary the load a little bit, come off and on the throttle, so that way the bike has a little bit of variance in the motor and load. Let's see where I'm at. 75 miles total right now. I averaged 33 miles to the gallon. Currently I'm averaging 40, which is not bad. So I think realistically, like, if I wanted to take this for a longer trip, I could definitely do it with some fuel efficiency. But man, if you step on this thing and get going, it's thirsty. It'll take the gas and just guzzle it. When I only put like 2.6 gallons in and I was still on bar 2, I hadn't dipped into the reserve yet. Yeah, I mean, that tracks for about how much of fuel capacity this thing has. I think it's just over 4 gallons. So realistically, say I'm doing like, I don't know, 41 miles to the gallon on a longer trip with 4 gallons. I mean, it's not great, but about 165-ish miles on the range. It's not great. Certainly could be better, but, you know, who cares? It's not what I bought the bike for. I bought the bike to have fun, damn it. And I am having fun. So I am looking at it a little closer. It's basically... I'm keeping a running clock on trip A just so I can keep an eye on that. Because I still need to dive into the system and actually display my odometer in real time. Oh, wait a minute. Did I read that wrong? Oh, look at that. Okay. So it does have a total down there. Got it. Okay. Well, that makes more sense now. So I was like, why does that number feel like it's not moving? Okay. Well, good to know. So I don't know if you guys noticed or not, but I managed to figure out why I wasn't getting 60 frames per second on the video yesterday. And I hate to put it like this because I kind of feel like an idiot, but what I discovered, I was putting in my intro video, like the little clips, before the actual video footage, and it was setting my project timeline to like 30 frames per second. So even if I was recording in 60, it was cutting it in half. So that's why the video quality kind of seemed like it was shit for all the settings that I had. So hopefully you guys noticed an improvement yesterday. I'm gonna pay closer attention to that when I'm building the videos. Like I said, I'm no expert with any of this stuff, so I am still trying to find, you know, what works best and what doesn't. I was going to put my tank grips on last night, but I totally spaced it after I parked the bike. Would have given it at least about 12 hours for them to settle and the glue to adhere, but I figure the bike's going to be sitting long enough after this ride that I'll just do it then. It's not the end of the world. It's not like I'm riding with really scratchy clothing or anything. I love how much power this thing has, and I love how fucking smooth the exhaust sound is. This thing just sounds amazing. I can only imagine how it's going to sound without the freaking cat in there. I gotta wait until I'm through the first service before I think about doing that, though. I'm still blown away that Imperial was open on a Monday. I couldn't believe it. Totally shocked me. As a motorcycle dealership, it's insane to me that they would be open. Like, I guess they can get away with it. It's technically that they're not selling bikes on Mondays, I guess. I don't know. The way he explained it to me didn't make a ton of sense to me. I could be wrong, but the way that he was explaining it is like he had a dude come in for a test ride, and he had to turn him away because they're not allowed to on Monday because they're a power sports dealer. They can only get away with so much. So like service and accessories and things like that, they can't actually like sell or test ride anything. At least that's the way that I understood it. I don't know. It seemed kind of goofy to me, but I'm not complaining. I mean, the fact that they're open on a Monday is fucking sick. I wish all the power sports dealers were like that. So I was informed I have to make a special stop to go collect our winnings for the Halloween decorating contest. I don't know if I mentioned it or not before, but we did end up winning again. Second year in a row for best theme with the Star Wars related stuff. Again, we don't do it because we're competitive. We do it because we want to make everybody have a good time on Halloween. You know, kids and adults included. We try to do themes that everybody can relate to and everybody can enjoy. And sure enough, I mean, 2 years in a row, we've taken the title. And everybody's always asking, like, what are you guys going to do next year? I'm like, I don't freaking know. We came up with a Star Wars thing, like, not even 3 months before this. When it comes to this kind of stuff, what the fuck are you doing, dude? So, the point that I was coming to, before we so rudely interrupted by Shithead in his little fucking Focus, the prize, I guess, was $100, and we split it with our neighbors behind us since they were part of our display. So they already picked up their half. We're going to pick up our half. That's what I got to go pick up. I was almost tempted to say screw it and, you know, give it back to the community again. But considering it's cash, I mean, we'll take it. Considering how many extra things that we ended up buying this year just to make this display happen. And I ended up selling the TIE Fighter that I built too. So between those two things, I think we've made basically like $100 back, which I guess kind of sort of helps cover some of the expense of the theme we did this year. We added 6 more skeletons, the 5-footers. And did I just have a fucking cigarette thrown at me? That looked like a damn cigarette that hit me. I'm gonna have to look at the footage for that. What the hell? Who threw it at me? What a dick move. Fuck away from people like that. See how many miles we're at. 88. We're about to the stage where I started using the quick shifter on the MV. We're getting close. So in case you couldn't know or didn't know, I just used the quick shifter. I figure screw it, at this point it's already got enough miles. I'll cycle it in and out. I won't use it all the time. At least for now, anyway. Ooh, it works nice. This quick shifter's smooth. It's not as notchy as my last one in the MV. I definitely want to get the tune on here from BT just because that the temperature that this thing is kicking out is quite extreme. I noticed when I pulled the fairing off yesterday that there was actually some coolant spilled on some of the panels underneath the fender. So I don't know if that was from an overheat that it had when I was on the way here or on the way home from when I purchased it, but I don't know. It kind of caught me off guard a little bit. I'm like, shit, I don't have more than like 20 miles on this bike and it's already got a little bit of coolant spill. The nice thing with the BT tune is like when it gets up into this hotter range, the fans will kick on like right around this temperature, like 195-ish. So it should help keep the airflow going on the radiators, radiator and the oil cooler a little better, just to keep the temperatures in check. I'm not super worried about it right now, considering it's not like 90 degrees out, but in the summertime, that's going to be super beneficial. Because then I won't have, you know, this thing trying to freaking overheat on me while I'm just sitting there chilling at a light or something. Yeah, I can definitely feel the air temperature is coming down. It's chilling off quick. It's also getting a little darker and hazier. This is a good ride though. I got some good miles on the bike, finally. Lots of varying different conditions too. One thing that I am not super stoked about, especially after all these rides that I've done so far, well, 3 rides, not that many, but the stupid evap canister that they put on these things. I have got to get that thing to go away. It is the worst. The amount of like air that comes out of this freaking tank every time that I open it up, because that thing just does not purge excess pressure, is insane. I don't know who developed that thing, but it sucks. I'm glad that it's an easy thing to get rid of and account for in the tuning, but until that thing goes away, I gotta freaking deal with it, and it's so dumb. Gotta make sure to open up the fuel tank every time I shut this thing off, otherwise it'll just sit there like making this weird, because it's like slowly purging off that pressure, but it's not letting enough out. I know they do that for emissions related shit, but like honestly, emissions related anything on motorcycles like these is so fucking stupid. That thing creates more fucking emissions than this does, just by existing. Oh man, I could definitely feel that air cooling off. Should have worn my leather. I'm not complaining. It's actually kind of nice and comfortable a little bit, but I would prefer to have my leather. All right. That's going to do it for me, guys. So I hope you guys enjoyed being with me on this ride, and I will see you all in the next video. See you then, dudes.